Greetings, YouTube. LMS Tactical here. I hope everybody's doing good. I guess one of the things that's on everybody's mind, or on most people's minds, is the sad and unfortunate suicide of Robin Williams. You know, and as much as I rail against the Hollywood elitist, and you know how pretty much you guys know how I feel about actors and Hollywood in general. Let's just say I'm not a huge fan. I mean, working LAPD and working Hollywood division, I've had the opportunity to be in many stars' homes when they were not under the spotlight, so to speak. And quite frankly, some of them are just, a lot of them are arrogant snobs living in a world that is nothing similar to the real world. In terms of what their expectations are of other people and their views of themselves. Okay, that being said, look, I'm not some soulless dude, but on the contrary, I think one of the guys touched on it. I mean, my compassion is at direct odds with my ability to passionately dislike things about people. That's a complicated sentence, that made sense. Nobody wants to see somebody take their life. It's perhaps fitting that as I make this video, I'm on my way to pick up my dead dog Molly's ashes. So yeah, I mean, I'm depressed right now. I mean, I've been putting this off insanely. I should have picked them up a week ago, but I actually got to the door of the vets, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I'm not as strong as I like to think I am when it comes to these things. I mean, the last time Molly was in this truck, she was eating a chocolate Hershey bar in the back seat. I was bringing her to her death. So I can make myself cry. I'm not going to do that. But depression is that's what I believe is going to turn out to have caused Robin Williams to put a belt around his neck and hang himself. That's the method of death, I heard. Now, I have seen unbelievable amounts of suicide as a cop. My own sister, God rest her soul, Sandra, threw herself from a building in New York City and committed suicide. And as a result of that, I did volunteer work on the suicide prevention hotline for about a year and a half. And handling calls when people would call in. And if anybody out there is a potential volunteer or is looking for a good cause, man, I highly recommend that. It takes an unbelievable amount of training. They don't just stick you on the phones. I mean, you go through some serious training by psychologists, and you've got to cut the mustard before they let you actually go work these shifts. But you learn a lot about people and about yourself and about depression and suicide in general. Suicide is out of control. I mean, just with our returning veterans, I think it's, I don't know, every 20 minutes or every 40 minutes one of them commits suicide. That's insane. Young people that attempt suicide and are successful with it. And let's be honest, is there any one of us who has not at some point thought about it? And the system being what it is, there's a catch-22, and I've talked about this before. A lot of how many cops commit suicide, but you can't go to your department shrink and say, hey, I've been thinking about suicide, because now you can't carry a weapon. So there's no grace thing for you. They won't let you, there's no reward for taking the initiative and trying to help yourself. You get punished. So people just push their depression in and down until inevitably it gets the best of them, and they succeed. So Robin Williams, I'm not trying to inject myself into the news story as if I had some kind of insight on Robin Williams, but I can't change history, factual history, and I did have a chance to meet him when he was getting his star on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood. I was wearing a uniform at the time, and was assigned to be in the little waiting room of a building, the lobby of a building that was adjacent to where his star was, or is. And he had his little girl with him, and she was about the same age as my little girl. And I was showing pictures of my daughter, that I had on my vest plate, and I actually held his daughter. And the point being that, everybody says, oh, he's such a nice guy. He was a nice guy, but anybody that couldn't see the overwhelming sadness emanating from Robin Williams is blind. I mean, you know, psychology 101. Some of the saddest people in the world are the funniest. You know, laugh, clown, laugh. He was a classic example of a guy who made everybody laugh, did what he could to make people laugh, see the funny side of life, but was, you know, clearly living in a really dark world, in a dark, you know, and depression is that way. You know, depression is something that's very tiring, and it's not so much that I think people want to, you know, shit all. People say, oh, it's very selfish, and I don't think it's that they want to shit on the surviving family members. I think it's that they're tired and they just want to get off the planet, you know. And when you look at anybody that's sensitive, and certainly Robin Williams was a sensitive guy, as you could see by his awesome ability to act and to take on different characters. Anybody that is that sensitive, faced with today's world situation in the news, you know, you've got little kids beheading adults, you know, 7-year-olds holding up heads, you know, in Afghanistan and Iraq, and you got the ISIS thing. It's overwhelming, man. I mean, you've got the racial problems. There's not a shortage of things to be depressed about in today's world. That's for sure. So I'm at the vets now. Hang on. That's right. Hopefully Charlie doesn't recognize. Look out, Charlie. So come here, sit down. Hopefully he doesn't recognize what's in the box. I mean, I have never held a box of ashes before, so I'm sure they're not going to smell like Molly. I hope not. But this is where I sat giving Molly her chocolate. But it's a sad day, you know, when anybody takes their life. You know, Robin Williams, what makes it, you know, he's no different or more special than the veteran that takes his or her life. If anything, we certainly owe them a lot more, because they didn't just make us laugh. You know, they weren't entertainers. They were out there putting their asses on the line, and we ought to mourn for every one of them. We can't do that, or we'd end up all committing suicide. But I think, you know, I'm gonna basically I'm drifting a little bit away from the norm in terms of paying homage to Robin Williams, an actor, because, you know, let's face it, most of us grew up with him at some point in our lives. I mean, I go back all the way to the Mork and Mindy days. I'm sure some of you do too. Most of you, maybe younger people, you know, probably don't know what that is, but that's when he pretty much started. And when a guy is on your TV set all the time and at the theater, you know, you do tend to feel like you know the guy, yeah? And, you know, so I mean, I used to get frustrated when I'd hear, like, people crying at the, you know, John Lennon's, you know, memorial site, and it's like, you know, you would swear it was their brother, but, you know, it doesn't take, I don't have to think too much before I understand that. You know, I understand that feeling of, you know, sometimes it can be taken too far. I think a lot of people want the drama in their life, and they want to be sad, they want to be personally affected, you know. I held his daughter, I shook his hand, you know, big deal. Yeah, that's it, man. So now I'm picking up Molly's ashes, and I'm one step closer to having to scatter them in the river she learned to swim in, and I'm sure that's going to be fun. Yeah. All of the Molly thing, by the way, is just a big run up to the day this guy, you know, goes, and man, oh man, it's like a practice thing for me, because I honestly don't have any clue how I'm going to handle that. I don't go anywhere without this guy, because I love him. Yeah. Anyways, I hope everybody's doing good. Google Hangouts, you know, it's not that I'm running away. I've got so much going on. I got my dad coming out here in a couple days from Texas, and, you know, he tells me, my father says, hey, listen, I'm low maintenance, and then follows it up with, here's what I need you to do. You know, very, very typically, I mean, this is a good thing. My dad and I are so connected. I literally was just in the middle of railing against his, you know, how he said he was low maintenance, and he keeps calling with all these, and right in the middle of that, of course, he called and cut my video off. Love you, Dad. But what was I talking about, man? I was talking about grief, and, you know, so I did pick up Molly's ashes, and hard to believe that I can hold her in this little teeny box here. God, life is weird, huh? The last time she was in this truck, she was eating chocolate bars right behind me, and now she's in a box. I don't know, man. You know, this is what happens. You know, life was meant to be lived, and part of living is dying, you know? And because it's been probably almost an hour since my dad cut me off of the video, I have no idea how to end this, so I'm gonna drive home. And I'll be thinking about Molly and what a great dog she was. And you know, if by some weird chance somebody that was close to Robin Williams, you know, gets drunk some night and runs out of things to watch and stumbles upon my video, my heartfelt condolences to his family and friends. LMS Tactical, you guys take care of yourself. Stay safe. I'm out.